He was born running. That is the first thing you need to understand about Aries. Before the accident, before the pain, before the world decided he was invisible, Aries was pure speed. A border collie mix with legs that did not touch the ground so much as suggest it. He could outrun every dog at the park. He could chase a frisbee until your arm got tired. He lived for motion. And then, on a Tuesday afternoon that no one saw coming, everything stopped. A car, a street, a driver who never even slowed down. Aries was 3 years old when his back legs stopped working. Not gradually, not with warning. One moment he was running. The next moment he was dragging. The vet said spinal cord damage. Permanent. Irreversible. Aries would never walk again. His owner at the time did not cry, did not ask questions, did not even finish the conversation. He signed the surrender papers in the vet's lobby and walked out the door without looking back. Aries watched him go. And that is where our story really begins. Not with the accident, with the abandonment. Because what broke Aries was never his spine. Stay with me. By the end of this story, you will never look at a disabled dog the same way again. The shelter took Aries because they had to, not because they wanted to. A dog who cannot walk takes up space, takes time, takes resources the shelter did not have. They put him in a back kennel, not the ones visitors see. The ones behind the closed door where the broken dogs wait for something that never comes. Aries learned to drag himself with his front legs. His back legs just followed behind like dead weight. He developed sores on his paws, on his hips, on the places where his body met the concrete floor. The volunteers tried to help. They put down blankets. They turned him every few hours. But there were 50 other dogs and only 3 volunteers, and Aries was not the only one hurting. People came to the shelter every day. Families, couples, children pressing their faces against kennel gates. They walked past Aries every single time. Not because they were cruel, because they wanted a dog who could run, a dog who could fetch, a dog who could hike, a dog who looked like the one in their imagination. Aries learned to stop wagging his tail when he heard footsteps, learned to stop hoping, because hope hurt more than his spine ever did. He cried at night, not loud, not barking, a soft, broken sound that the night shift volunteer said sounded exactly like a human crying. She would sit with him sometimes. Just sit. He would put his head in her lap and cry. And she would cry too. Months passed. Aries became part of the shelter furniture, something everyone walked past without really seeing. His file said special needs in red ink. That is shelter code for probably never getting adopted. The volunteers stopped putting him on the website, stopped posting his picture on social media. Not because they didn't care, because no one ever clicked. A dog who cannot walk does not get likes, does not get shares, does not get second glances. Aries turned 4 years old in that back kennel. No party, no cake, no family, just the same concrete floor and the same crying and the same endless waiting. And then something shifted. A new volunteer named Elena started at the shelter. She was 22 years old, fresh out of college, and she had one rule. She would not look away from the dogs everyone else ignored. On her first day, she asked to see the back kennels. The staff hesitated. They warned her. Those dogs are hard to look at. She went anyway. She opened Aries's kennel door and sat down on the concrete floor next to him. He did not wag his tail, did not lift his head. He had stopped hoping months ago. Elena did not speak. She just sat there for 45 minutes. At the end of her shift, she came back. She sat again. The next day, the same thing. On the third day, Aries lifted his head. He looked at her, and for the first time in almost a year, he wagged his tail. Just once. Just a small movement. But Elena saw it, and she made a decision that would change everything. Elena did not adopt Aries that week. She could not. She lived in a small apartment with a no-pets policy, but she also could not leave him. So she did something else. She started showing up. Every single day, 2 hours before her shift. 1 hour after. She brought a wagon. She lifted Aries into it and pulled him around the shelter yard so he could feel grass under his nose again. She brought him to the park across the street, just to sit, just to let him remember there was a world beyond 4 concrete walls. She started a TikTok account, not for herself, for Aries. She posted videos of him dragging himself across the yard, of him crying at night, of him slowly starting to wag his tail again. The first video got 47 views. The second got 200. The third got 4,000. By the end of the first month, one video hit 2 million. People were seeing Aries for the first time, and they were crying. Comments flooded in from everywhere. I have never seen a dog look so sad. Why won't anyone adopt him? Where is this shelter? But still, no one came. Weeks passed. The videos kept going viral. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. Zero adoption applications. Because wanting to help and actually helping are two different things. People shared. People cried. People clicked. But no one drove to the shelter. No one filled out the paperwork. Aries was famous now, and still completely alone. Elena started to lose hope. She had shown the world this dog. The world had looked. And then the world had scrolled past. Just like everyone else. Then something unexpected happened. A woman named Dr. Sarah Owens saw one of Aries's videos. She was a veterinary rehabilitation specialist. She had spent 15 years helping dogs exactly like Aries. Dogs everyone else had given up on. She did not comment on the video. She did not share it. She drove 4 hours to the shelter the next morning. She asked to see Aries. The shelter staff tried to warn her. He cannot walk. He has spinal damage. He has been here for over a year. Dr. Owens nodded and said, I know. Show me anyway. She spent 2 hours examining Aries on the concrete floor of his kennel. She manipulated his back legs, tested his reflexes, watched him drag himself across the room. And then she said something no one had ever said before. His spinal cord is damaged, but it is not dead. She explained that with intensive rehabilitation, with a custom wheelchair, with daily physical therapy, Aries might never run again. But he could walk. Not like before, but enough. Enough to feel the sun on his back in a backyard of his own. Enough to chase a slow ball across a living room floor. Enough to live. Elena started crying. Aries, for the first time in months, wagged his tail twice. Dr. Owens made a phone call that afternoon to a rescue group that specialized in special needs dogs. They agreed to fund Aries's wheelchair, his rehab, his vet bills, everything. There was only one condition. Someone had to adopt him. Someone had to be his person. Someone had to not look away. Elena broke her lease, found a pet-friendly apartment, paid the pet deposit she could not afford, and on a rainy Saturday morning, she walked into the shelter with a brand new dog bed and a bag of treats and a wheelchair that had Aries's name engraved on the side. She knelt down on the concrete floor, looked Aries in his tired, sad, beautiful eyes, and said, You are coming home with me. Aries did not understand the words, but he understood her voice. He crawled into her lap, pressed his nose against her chin, and for the first time in 14 months, he did not cry that night. The first week was hard. Aries hated the wheelchair, refused to move in it, fell over, got back up, fell again. Elena did not push. She just sat with him. Every day. The second week, he took 3 steps. The third week, he crossed the living room. The fourth week, he went outside. Not dragging. Walking. Slowly. Imperfectly. But walking. Today, Aries has over 4 million followers across social media. Not because he is sad anymore. Because he is not. He still cannot run. He still falls sometimes. He still needs help. But he also wags his tail every single morning. He also presses his nose against Elena's face when she wakes up. He also has a life. A real life. Aries was thrown away because he could not walk. He was ignored because he did not look like the dog in people's imagination. But he was never broken. He was just waiting. Waiting for someone who would not look away. Elena did not save Aries because she was special. She saved him because she stayed. That is the only difference between the dog who gets a home and the dog who dies alone. Someone stays. Be the person who stays. Share this story. Because somewhere right now, another Aries is crying in a back kennel. And they are waiting for someone to see them.